Before we get into which programming language is best for a Telegram bot, let me start with a bit of background. I'm subscribed to this great channel run by a wonderful creator. She mostly works in a talk show format, like an online radio. She's got an amazing voice, a good sense of humor, and it's always a pleasure to listen to her. As the channel's title suggests, there might be some strong language from time to time, but overall, it's really interesting to hear her thoughts and personal experience. At some point, she needed a way for her audience to take part in the show, to send their own audio messages, just like calling a real radio station. That's how the idea came up. Create a Telegram bot where listeners can record a voice message, and it will be delivered to a private group for the host to review. So, I built that bot. Its logic is very simple. Users can only send voice messages. When you start the bot, you see a short welcome message, keeping the radio spirit. If you try to send text, the bot politely replies, "Only voice messages are supported." You record your message, it gets processed, and then sent straight to the private group. Everything works smoothly. The logic couldn't be simpler. So now, let's look at the code. At first, I plan to continue with Python, since I'd already made one small project before. A console tool that lets you post markdown files to Telegram channels or groups without extra conversions. It's a neat little script, console-based, but very convenient. It uses the Python Telegram bot library, which worked perfectly. No issues, no surprises. Everything behaved exactly as expected, so naturally, I wanted to stick with Python, but this time make something more interactive. The whole bot is just about 77 lines of code. Receive a message, check if it's a voice message, and forward it to a private group. There are a few spam checks, but that's it. Pretty straightforward. But when I tried to run it, I kept getting an async runtime error. It connected to the API just fine, but inside the runtime, something broke. No matter what I try, I couldn't make even the simplest version work properly. Then I switched to Iagram, and that solved everything instantly. Even though Iagram has far fewer GitHub stars, around 5,000, compared to 30,000 for Python Telegram bot, this one worked out of the box, with no problems at all. The only minor thing was that Purite complained about some typing hints, but aside from that, everything launched and worked perfectly. Still, I noticed that Iagram's structure feels a bit old school. Everything goes through decorators and plain functions, without any real context management. Not bad, but not very modern either. So I decided to try the same logic in TypeScript. Right away, the big advantage is typing. Strong, built-in, and reliable. Unlike Purite, which can miss things, TypeScript's type system is part of the language itself. And when you look at the code, it's clear and readable. Not more complicated than Python, really. It uses context properly and feels modern. I liked it a lot. When I ran both versions in containers, Python and TypeScript, the difference was huge. The TypeScript version running on Bun used about 20 megabytes of RAM, while the slim Python image took about 100, so TypeScript with Bun was roughly 5 times lighter. And of course, much faster too. That made me curious. How would the same logic look in other languages? So I wrote versions in Rust and Go as well. The code size was roughly the same across all of them. Go ended up a little longer because of the constant error handling. If error not equal to nil everywhere. But honestly, that's not a bad thing. It forces you to handle errors properly and makes the code safer. As for Go's syntax, it feels a bit flat to me. Not as elegant as TypeScript or Rust. Still, it's a perfectly fine choice. You get a single binary, no runtime, and it runs fast. That said, for this bot, performance doesn't really matter. It's not doing CPU heavy work, it's just waiting for Telegram, AP, or responses. So speed isn't a factor at all. Next, I tried Rust. Probably not the most natural choice for a Telegram bot, but still, it can be done. The syntax and structure look pretty unusual. It's a bit harder to get into, especially if you're coming from Python. The number of lines is about the same, but all those nested brackets and lifetimes make it less readable. Still, if someone wants to practice Rust and explore its safety and borrowing model, sure, why not? Personally, though, I think Rust is better suited for systems without a changing context, unlike bots, where the state keeps shifting. So in this case, Rust just feels too heavy and complex. For now, the bot runs on Python with diagram, but in the future, I plan to extend it to support paid voice messages or donations, and that part I'll definitely do in TypeScript. It just feels cleaner and more enjoyable to work with. And to wrap this up, a programming language is just a tool. Choose it based on the task. For example, that earlier Markdown tool, Python was perfect for it. It runs locally, no complex async logic, and it's available on most Linux systems by default. You can run it anywhere, right away. Even on other systems, installing Python is easy. TypeScript, on the other hand, is a bit more complicated to set up, but also more modern and powerful. And I also thought about other developers. If someone wants to tweak the code for their needs, Python makes it easier and faster to do. So, my final advice, choose the language you enjoy. Use the one that makes you happy to code. And good luck with your projects.